Ready? Today we're going to start 79B on the bottom of the page.
The whole discussion here about the definition of
This comes out. That's going to be the machlekes for Yasin.
yeah, it's got to go say.
Yeah, this up. Wow. I didn't know they have the explanation of the round opened up like that. Oh. I would have used this more.
What did you said in that first?
Affliction.
Okay.
Afflict yourself.
See, we're going to have a difficulty in this Gemara. That's
Is that connecting to what you said yesterday that the wife could say like, "Oh, I'm not going to shower," and then the
Right.
husband could
exactly.
delay the.
Exactly. So today we're going to start 6 lines from the bottom of 79. And thank Hashem that we're able to learn every day. It's also our learning we should have this in English. Okay, we learned in the Mishnah that there's certain types of vows that the husband can annul. And there's vows that he can't annul. So a vow that has inay nefesh, he's able to annul. Inay nefesh means afflicting the soul. If it's afflicting her, he can annul it. And then we're going to learn also about things that are beinai lebeinai. That's later. If it's matters that pertain between themselves, like she's not going to have relations or something.
Those will those come back like if she marries someone else?
So those will not resurface. That's what we learned yesterday. The ones that are beinai lebeinai will resurface. Yeah. Okay. So the case of the Mishnah was im erchatz, if I bathe, im lo erchatz, if I don't bathe. Im eskashet, that means if I adorn myself. Im lo eskashet, if I don't adorn myself. Okay, so that's the case. Now it sounds like im means that that's a condition. Really, if it means if. If I do this, then something is going to be prohibited. So what is that we're talking about? They didn't say she'eni erchatz, that I'm not going to, right? That's almost the case. It says if I don't, then something, and it left out that something. So Gemara says im erchatz. We quote the Mishnah. Hechi kamar. What are we talking about? Ilema da amra kainem peres elamalai im erchatz. Let's just we're thinking that the real vow was something totally different than the condition. The real vow was, I'm not going to have fruits at all. He said that's considered eating nefesh. Never going to eat fruits. So, and what is it dependent on? If I bathe.
If she bathes, then she won't eat.
Then she won't eat fruits.
If she doesn't bathe,
Or if she doesn't bathe, she won't eat fruits.
oh, either way.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
But how will it's going to be? I don't bathe today because else it's going to be forever. You need a time limit on that. So the Gemara says, if that's the case, then lama lahafara. Why does the husband have to annul it for her not to have the inay nefesh? And the husband is allowed to take away, to remove her affliction by annulling the vow. Problem is over here, why should he annul it? Lama lahafara, why does she need an annulment? Don't bathe. She said the vow only takes effect on the condition that she bathes. So don't bathe and don't have the vow. She'll be allowed to eat the fruits. Don't annul it. You don't have to annul it. Just don't bathe, and then it would be good.
But then she cannot remain unbathed like forever.
There's probably a time limit. If she doesn't bathe, if she bathes, then the fruits become prohibited. If she doesn't bathe, then the fruits are permitted. Okay, the difficulty here is so far there's already a difficulty that why do we have to discuss any condition at all?
Affliction.
And the affliction is if the condition is not the affliction, It's the affliction we're now assuming is what the actual vow is. So why are you mixing me up with conditions? Just take a vow and then we'll discuss. Is it okay? That's a problem with this Gemara, but the problem only gets worse because what we just did now was we said that we have a way out of the vow. How do we have a way out? No, that's not fine. How do we have a way out of the vow? Well, don't bathe, and then the vow is not there. Gemara goes on to ask another question. It's be a problematic thing going on. And also, why does Rabbi Yossi say, "Ein elu nidrei nefesh"? Rabbi Yossi argues on the Mishnah. He says this type of vow is not considered an inay nefesh. It's not considered an affliction to the soul. If the condition is, if I don't bathe, what's the actual vow? If that I won't eat fruits. So we said that this is not considered, according to Rabbi Yossi, not considered affliction. Okay, maybe the bathing is an affliction, fine. But what's going to happen if she doesn't bathe, and then she becomes prohibited to have all the fruits? So then it is going to be an affliction. So how could Rabbi Yossi say that it's not considered an affliction? Okay, now, when you take these two questions together, is the Gemara assuming that she can avoid the condition? So originally we said she can avoid the condition, and then why does the Rabbanan say that you can annul a vow like this, avoid the condition, and then the vow doesn't take effect? Avoid the stipulation. Then we come to Rabbi Yossi, and we say, how could Rabbi Yossi say that it's not inay nefesh? She might end up not avoiding the condition, and it's going to be inay nefesh. So the questions are contradictory because we're assuming that she either can or cannot. We're taking both sides of the coin. We ask a question on the Rabbanan, avoid the condition. We ask a question on Rabbi Yossi, maybe she's not going to avoid the condition. If that's the case, then we have answered the question on the Rabbanan. Maybe she's not going to avoid the condition and it's going to be prohibited, so it's inay nefesh. As each question answers each other. I'm asking a question on the Gemara. The commentaries all ask this. They come up with like very small like ways of explaining this Gemara. Basically, the answer is that it's the question on Rabbi Yossi is the language, not the logic. Because the logic, each question answers the other one. You can't ask both questions.
The way that it's stated, if the day that she bathed, she cannot eat fruit, so that'll stand like forever.
Right. Yeah.
I think throughout all of Nedarim, have all these statements, promise that people put the solution is don't take promises,
Right.
But clearly that's not what's going on.
Right.
For whatever reason,
Right.
this was common in those days. And so there's not a logic per se as to, well, you didn't have to do the stipulation. The reality is they did the stipulation. That's how they did it for whatever reason. Somebody got mad and off with your head.
There are quotes that Gemara before where we had someone, I won't eat tomorrow if I eat today. Was he allowed? No, it went like this. I won't eat today if I eat tomorrow. That was the vow. Then becomes like there was machlokes over there. If a person is going to be careful with the stipulation as he would be with the vow. So if he eats today, so he violated the vow only if tomorrow he is going to eat. So there was a machlokes earlier. Is a person careful about that? And should the fact that a person isn't careful about the stipulation already prohibit him from violating the vow today because we know what he's going to do tomorrow? He's not going to care. It's not a vow when I eat tomorrow. It's just the stipulation. Okay. Okay.
Don't have all, like, you don't eat your Cheerios, you can't go to the movies.
What?
Right? So that's the way people, this is normal with kids anyway.
Right.
So that's not a promise.
No, I promise
Promise
you.
is a whole new level. You can't take a promise like a kid.
Oh, this is only on yourself, right?
You can't be
Actually, you might be able to say if you don't need your, Cheerios, I won't take you to the movies. That's good.
That's
That's not a promise that you're bound by.
No. Val, if you don't do this, then
Depends on the language. You may end up
Exactly. The traditional language that we use today.
right.
The stuff that we get used to.
Something more exotic than vodka.
Huh?
Okay. We're on the top of Daf Pei. They have these chess sets that they're made out of cups. Or checkers, I think. I guess you're supposed to take a drink every time you move a piece. It's like these cups, one's shaded and one's not. Okay. We're on top of Daf Pei. Okay, so now we're already entering in. It's not getting easier, but we're entering into the possibility that the vow also involves bathing also. So there's a condition here. We can't get rid of the condition. Mishnah says there's a condition. Im erchatz. If I bathe, then I'm never going to have enjoyment from bathing again.
Wow.
So the first bathing is permissible. It's only after that it's going to be a problem. So there's a discussion later on in the parak. We actually had this before? Can they annul a vow that hasn't taken effect yet? We had before a different discussion. If he can annul a vow that hasn't been taken yet, but let's say the vow has been taken, but can you annul the vow before the condition has been met and it hasn't really taken effect yet? So that's a discussion, machlokes. So whichever way you can figure out how to work this out. It's according to either way. Either you want to annul it before it happened, before the condition, according to that opinion, or you want to annul it after the condition was violated, or not violated, fulfilled, and now the vow comes into effect. Okay, so the Gemara thinks that this is good. Mishum hachim meifela. So this you should be allowed to annul. The hechi tavid. What should be done? Tirchatz. Let's say she does take a bath. Mitzra nasruchitzala. Now she's not going to be able to bathe forever. So that's considered eating nefesh according to the Rabbanan. It's considered an affliction. Late tirchatz. If she doesn't bathe the first time, so isli nivla. So then that itself is considered disgusting. What does the Gemara mean by isli nivla? Does the Gemara mean that that's inay nefesh? Does that mean that's beinay lebeina?
Temporary disfigurement.
Okay, nivla means disgusting. It's disgusting. Disfigurement. Okay. I guess what the Gemara means is that it's going to be inay nefesh on either way. Either you bathe or you don't bathe. It's going to be inay nefesh, affliction of the soul. So therefore, the husband should annul it. Rabbi Yossi Sabar. Rabbi Yossi holds efshad b'lei rachzel nivel echashinan. We're not concerned about nivel. It's possible for not to bathe. Apparently, what we're saying right here is that there's a machlokes Rabbi Yossi and the Rabbanan. How serious we have to take bathing? Is bathing considered something that's afflicting the soul if you don't bathe? We had this couple over at the house years ago. So we'd like to ask them. So how did you meet? What's your background? Anyway, so the guy says we're very different. For example, I take showers. Yeah, this is gonna. She was like, "Oh, stop it!" But anyway, so she wanted to say that. What he wanted to say was that she takes bath. She likes to describe it. He takes showers, but anyway, it didn't come out that way. It sounded.
What's right out of the tomorrow? Yeah.
I think they're doing fine. Anyway, okay. So it comes out here is that there would be this machlekes, the Rabbanan and the Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Yossi regarding how much of an affliction is not bathing. We're going to mention Yom Kippur coming up on the next page because that plays in on Yom Kippur. You're not allowed to bathe. Gemara asks, Ihachi, if we're dealing here, it's a little confusing, this question. Sort of unclear. The Ran goes through, there's so many like different possible like moving parts here in the commentaries. Ihachi, listen, Ihachi, Rabbi Yossi Emer Tanai Zeh Ein Bayinei Nefesh. If we're really talking about the condition, problem is, why does he have to say it? Why does he have to say it? I'll tell you what the Gemara says. Why does he say that this vow doesn't have affliction of the soul? The condition doesn't have affliction for the soul. Now, what's the problem? I don't understand why the Gemara is asking that. Because the vow also, according to Rabbi Yossi, doesn't have affliction to the soul. It's fine. Let me see if they elaborate on this question.
Mentioned before about like the discussion that if the fruits were from the land,
Yeah, that was earlier. We mentioned that if she prohibits fruits from that location, then that would be problematic. Yeah. So that was going back when there was a condition not to bathe, but the vow itself was fruits. Now we're talking about the condition is not to bathe, and the vow itself is bathing. If I bathe, I won't bathe. Okay. No, we're not holding there yet. Is the way they explain it like this. Why does Rabbi Yossi say, Ein elu nidri nefesh? These vows are not afflicting the soul. It sounds like that the vow is not afflicted, that since the vow doesn't have an affliction, so that's why the husband can't annul it. But if the vow did have an affliction, but the condition did not have an affliction, then the husband also can't annul it. I'm sorry, if the condition didn't have an affliction, then the husband couldn't annul it, can yes annul it. We're making it like that the condition needs to have an affliction also in order for the husband to annul it. That's what the Gemara is thinking here. So if that's the case, then Rabbi Yossi has to say, Tanai zeh ein bayinei nefesh. I don't know, I'm not sure why it has to be like that. Root nun vav lamed, the words evil, disfigurement, or ugliness, and despicable ones, closely to the root nun beis lamed, Bela. Okay, that's grammar. Okay. So the Gemara says, Ella, we switched the way that this is being put. The Amra Hanas Rechitza Alai La'olam Im Erchat Tzayayim. If I bathe today, then I'm not allowed to bathe forever. Now, I'm not sure exactly what's switching in the Gemara. What's switching in the Gemara? That's sort of what we said before as well. We said before, I'm not going to have benefit from bathing forever if I bathe once. What are we switching now? We're just saying, it seems like we're repeating the same thing again. We're switching the once to today.
Right. Here it mentions that if you bathe one day is not called.
Okay, so one second. I'm asking first before we get to what Rabbi Yossi's view is. So originally what the Gemara means is that there's always going to be a first time that she's going to be allowed to bathe. That's the original Gemara. If I don't bathe today, I can still bathe. Always be allowed to bathe once. I can still bathe. I can bathe tomorrow. I can bathe the next day. I'm allowed to.
She always has a free.
She always has a free pass to bathe once. That was the way the Gemara was saying first. Now the Gemara is saying that no. It's a time restriction, that
An expiration on your.
an expiration on the condition.
Condition.
So
Coupon is good only until.
right. Rabbi Yossi holds that the disfigurement or the refraining from bathing for one day is not considered a disgusting. Okay, so this is where we leave this. What the Mishnah meant was, im erchatz, if I bathe today, then I will never be allowed to bathe. And Rabbi Yossi says that that's not considered in nefesh. And we're talking about Rabbi Yossi holds obviously the condition also is not a inei nefesh. Nivel dechad yom l'shmi nivel. I'm not sure that's the problem here. I'm not sure how the Gemara answered the question. It should say that this condition doesn't have inei nefesh. So like the question, I'm not sure how it's getting answered. All right. Now the Gemara says, Shanis im erchatz. You've answered. Yeah, I got stuck on this word this morning. Shanis. It looks like Shanis. Shanis. Shanis means you've answered im erchatz. You've answered the first part of the condition. If you bathe. Im lo erchatz hechi dami. If you, what was that? There were two parts to this. There was if I bathe or if I don't bathe. So what was the other way that this was said? Im lo erchatz. If I don't bathe hechi dami. Ilay medamar tasar nasr chitz lo ilam alai. Let's say she said, if I don't bathe, if I don't bathe today, we're going to follow the same logic. If I don't bathe today, then I'll never be allowed to bathe. So, then we're back to the same question. Why does she have to bathe? Why does she have to get it annulled? Don't bathe. I'm sorry, bathe, and then you won't have any problem. Gemara says, tis chasi. Supposed to be tistachi on the side. The Rashash adjusted tistachi. Tistachi. He adjusted. What do you have? Do you have tistachi?
Where this the star.
Oh really?
No.
That's right.
Oh, tistachi. Yeah. So he doesn't adjust it like the Rashash. The Rashash adjusted. What I understood, I'm guessing. I didn't look at the Rashash, but I'm guessing that in the his spoil, in the reflexive. So usually there's a tough before the word, except if the word is like a tzaddik or a shin or a samach, then it gets thrown in middle of the word, the tough. So it's I'm assuming that's what the Rashash is doing. But sachi means to bathe or to swim. So the Gemara is saying, why does the husband have to annul the vow? Just let her bathe, and then there's no vow. She didn't fulfill the condition. The condition was, if I don't bathe, then I'm going to have a vow on me. Okay, so bathe, and then there's no vow. It's not so simple. The condition was that she has to bathe. If I don't bathe in flax water, which smells, they would use this water. Today you would say, not the smelly water, but they have this job, nuclear cleaning, they have to dive into. So something that's like really, you can't ask someone to do that. So if I don't do bathing in this disgusting water, then I'm always going to be prohibited to bathe forever. So you cannot. So the Kava say, now we have an understanding of the next phrase of the Mishnah. If I adorn myself, then I'll always be prohibited today. adorn myself today, then I'll always be prohibited from adorning myself forever. And if I don't adorn myself today with naft, is naphtha, it's like a tar type of thing, then I'll never be allowed to adorn myself. So in other words, the condition is something that's very difficult to be met. So she's always going to be prohibited. You can't say, well, why does he have to null it? Let her just not fulfill the condition, and then the vow won't be there. The problem is because not fulfilling this condition is very difficult. Okay. Gemara says, but if that's the case, iskashit, it's not iskashit, it's lichlechu. That's dirt. It's not called, if I don't adorn myself with nafta, it was like a tar or something. Amar Rav Yehuda, the Amar Hanas Rechitza Laila Malay Emerchatz Hayayim Ushvua Shlayerchatz. So what we're doing over here is that we're making the condition impossible, because I'll never be able to bathe if I bathe today. So we say maybe so don't bathe. Problem is, I took an oath. I took an oath that I'm going to bathe. Right? If she bathes today, then she's going to be prohibited always from bathing. So we can say, well, don't bathe, and then you'll be fine. But the problem is she took an oath that she's going to. Not besides for the vow. There's a vow and there's an oath. The vow is prohibiting the benefit of bathing, and the oath, the shvua, is what I am going to do.
Is the bathing including going to mikvah? Because that would change the whole.
Yeah, we didn't throw that. We didn't really discuss that. We just discussed the.
Because then she's like the married woman saying, "I'm usher to you, miolo."
Right.
And I was like,
But
I don't know why that didn't come up in this.
no, that might have been like the only option.
Maybe she's either very young or very old.
that would be a good answer.
But at this time, they didn't have showers and chills
Right.
today, so maybe like mikvah was the only option.
No, they didn't shower the way we shower today. That's clear. But a mikvah wasn't always just a ritual mikvah. The mikvah was also like a bath. That was a
That's what I'm saying. Like at that time, it was probably the only option.
right,
Lake.
right.
Well, I like your answer,
Okay,
but it doesn't. It only satisfies the extremes,
Right.
not the middle.
right. Hanas kisha talayla
In that case, I don't really
miskasha
like
iskasha.
the answer.
So the way we're saying over basically, when you have a condition and you have a vow, our basic question of the whole Gemara is that why do you have to have the husband annul the vow? Just don't fulfill the condition, and then you're all set. So the way we're answering that now is that no, the condition has to be fulfilled because she took an oath to fulfill that condition. So now she's stuck. She has to fulfill the condition, and therefore the husband should be allowed to step in and annul it if that vow was in a nefesh. Amalei Ravina l'Ravashi. Ravina says to Ravashi, "Hayelu Nedarim Mushvus mi ba'ilei lemisnei." If what's happening over here is that there's an oath that's causing her to fulfill the condition, and then once she fulfills the condition, then the vow kicks in. So why do we say these are the vows that the husband is allowed to annul? Should really say these are the vows and oaths that the husband can annul, because that's the point over here, that there's also this oath. Amalei tini ela nedarim mishvus. He responds, okay, we can throw that word in the Mishnah and adjust the Mishnah. These are the vows and oaths. Yeah, he was okay with adjusting the wording in the Mishnah. Another teretz, shvua nami hainu nedarim. Sometimes it's talking about a shvua, but it calls it a neder. And I'll give you an example. The Tanan, we have a Mishnah, kinidri rishoim nadar. If he takes a vow like if he says, if he takes a vow like Nidre Rishayim, like the vows of the wicked. So that the rule would be Nadar bin Nazir b'Karban b'Shvua. So he has all these vows on him. Now, one of those is also the oath. So under the category of vow went the oath. So you see the term oath also goes under the category of nether. So we don't have to adjust the Mishnah. It's good enough as it says a vow. Okay, now we ask the question, according to the Rabbanan, bathing is considered not bathing is considered an affliction.
Amen.
Now the problem is for a minnow, we have a contradiction to that. And we're quoting from Yuma, from about Yom Kippur. Even though a person is not allowed to do any of those 5 things that on Yom Kippur you're not allowed to do, which is eating and drinking, bathing, putting on ointments, leather shoes, and marital relations. So, even though all of those are prohibited, the only time that there's kares, excision, a severe punishment on Yom Kippur is only for the eating and drinking and doing work, not for wearing leather shoes and for bathing and for. Now the problem is that what's the source in the Torah that you're not allowed to do any of these things? It says Inoy. Tanu is not shechem. You should afflict the soul. Now, if this is a real affliction, then why is there no kares for bathing? You didn't afflict the soul. If when she doesn't bathe is considered ina, then it should be that in Yom Kippur she should be chayav kares if she does bathe, or anyone if he bathes, because if this is a real inay, like the Rabbanan are saying, we're saying regarding the husband is allowed to annul it. It's considered an affliction. And then by Yom Kippur, we don't see that. Zamarava minyana dekra gabi Yom Kippurim diksiv tanos nafshesechem milsa diyada inuya hashta, rechitza layada inuya hashta. When it comes to Yom Kippur, there's no affliction of the soul when you don't bathe for that day. The affliction of the soul is when you don't bathe for several days. That's when it gets difficult. The first day, you're still fine.
That's what Rabbi Yosef said earlier, that the disfigurement was the capital one day wouldn't be
Right. So here, even if you go like the Rabbanan, that one day is yes a disfigurement, but you don't feel the disfigurement until later. It's not on the day itself. So the affliction of the soul needs to be on Yom Kippur itself, that he didn't afflict the soul. But because not bathing on Yom Kippur is not the problem. It's when right after Yom Kippur is when you start to feel like, oh, I needed a shower. So this wasn't the real taking away of the afflicting of the soul. But Gabi Nedarim, when it comes to a vow, when it comes to a vow, it's not about that it has to happen right now. It's anything that's going to come to Ina, he's allowed to annul. Anything that's going to come to afflicting the husband is allowed to remove. Okay. We had a question on the Rabbanan, and we answered that. Now the Gemara says, Varami de Rabbi Yossi ad Rabbi Yossi. We also have a question on Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi said that bathing is not bathing is not an affliction. Problem is, if there's a spring, Mayan shel b'nei Yair, a spring that belongs to the people of the city, and other people need water. So it says Chayim v'chay acherim. Who gets the water? They need the water for their own life, and other people need the water for their life. There's not enough. Chayim kaidmen l'chay acherim. The water goes to the people that own that well. They come first. Let's say it's their animals and other people's animals. Who's going to take the water? There's enough for the people, for both people. The problem is it's not enough for both animals. So the animals of the people of the city get the water. Let's say they're bathing, not that they're bathing, they're laundering, and also the other people's laundry. Who comes first? There's enough for the people, there's enough for the animals, there's just not enough for laundry. So who comes first is the people that own the well, the people from that city. I don't know why we jumped into this possibility. Let's say other people don't have enough to drink. You don't have enough for laundry. So it says, other people's drinking water comes before your laundry. Rabbi Yossi says, other people, your laundry comes before other people's drinking water. He's very strict about laundry. He says, look, this is part of your life. You can't live with dirty laundry. So that comes even before the Gemara. Let me just finish the question. Where it says, Hashta Kvisa Amar Rabbi Yossi Yesh Tsar. Now, if laundry, according to Rabbi Yossi, is considered a pain that you don't have, not a pain to do it, a pain that if you don't do it, so guf kulai like kolshkein, for sure bathing is considered significant. Why does Rabbi Yossi play down in our Mishnah? Oh, bathing, that's nothing. That's not considered in the nefesh. If you don't bathe. Over here we see even laundry is considered, even it's not the dirt isn't even on your body, it's just on your clothing.
You own dry clean.
Give me that.
It's a good question. The Gemara answers, listen to the answer. Amri, in Krisa Alima Leila Rabbi Yossi. You're right. Rabbi Yossi is more concerned about the dirty clothing than he is about the dirty body. Damar Shmuel, because Shmuel says, Hi Arvuvisa, this grime, the resha of the head, grime on the head, Masil de Avira could bring to blindness.
Whoa.
The person doesn't bathe. So it could bring to blindness. Arvuvisa Damani, grime on the clothing, Masil de Shamamisa could bring to craziness. Arvuvisa de Gufa, Masil de Shechne Vikivi. And grime on the body could bring to boils and but what else? What is the two things? Sores and boils.
We also learned it's very huge bear effect for scholars to be walking around.
Yeah, we had that. So our answer now is that grime on the body brings to boils and sores. But what's worse is grime on the clothing makes him entirely crazy. It could be, I think I saw because he wants to, it makes him itchy, it goes crazy from the scratching. Yeah, that's what it says. It's easier to heal, the Ran says, it's easier to heal sores on the body than it is to make the person not crazy. You can put on a lotion for the sores, but you can't, if he goes crazy because his clothing is dirty, then he's crazy. Irreversible, right? They didn't have psychologists back then. So tell me what you're feeling.
What kind of
I'm feeling itchy.
what kind of their clothes are made of, like linen or denim? What would it be?
Usually wool or linen.
Nice.
He went crazy. Maybe a spot on his clothes.
I understand like their explanation, but I would think that like dirty body would be more affliction than dirty clothes.
Yeah, apparently not.
But at least your body feels clean. Because like if you're dirty and you put on clean clothes, you still feel dirty.
A spot that bothers you, a white spot on a black kapata on Shabbos, you're allowed to, I think, brush it off.
Really?
No,
I didn't know that.
No,
In
no.
Hilchos Shabbos, we learned, the question was, like, if you have a white thing, it's if it's a black kapata and it's white and it bothers you, I think, I'm
could
not
be.
quoting, but there's something where we're so meticulous, it could bother you. Right.
Go like
Oh,
this.
hey, what was it? A new kapata, it's black.
It's not a
It's
halakha
a-
shear. Come on.
No,
Get on
but,
top of
but
this.
what did we learn? You were
Get
there.
on top of this.
You remember it. What did
Where's
we
where's
learn?
the bell?
What did we learn?
I heard
Where's my
something
lawyer?
similar to this now. We're allowed to clean and not walk around with this thing, then it's like the desecration, you know, like of Hashem. Because people will be like, oh, look, how dirty it is, tourist color.
Right.
Well, yeah, you could.
You
You
just have
holler
it,
some.
like if it's shown.
Okay. Shalchem Yisam. We'll do a little bit further tomorrow. We're not gonna. We'll learn Sunday.
He took care of a homeless guy. He had to change his clothes. We had to give him new clothes from thrift shop every day. And he bathed once a week. Clothes were an important thing.
Uh-huh.
Get away with not washing, but the clothes were.
He was willing to wear the new clothes? Or that,
No, the
It was
ladies were
hard.
unwilling to wash the old clothes.
Oh.
They said, you're ruining our washing machine. So,
Back stuff. Yomi.
Shalchem Yisam. They sent from over there. Hizar bar Vavisa. Be careful with grime.
crime.
Now, does it say where? It doesn't say if it's on the clothing or if it's on the body. Hizar bechabura. Be careful with your friends. With Hizar b'bnei aniyim, and be careful with children of the poor. Shemihem teitzei Torah, because the Torah is going to come from the children of the poor.
Be careful with your friends.
Be careful with your friends means that make sure that you learn together with friends. Don't just be alone. Don't just be alone. You should make sure that you're with the group.
remember, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
What's the source that the Torah comes from? The children of the poor. It says, "Shenema yizal maya midalya." The water will drip from the bucket. Now midalya also means from the poor. The water is referring to Torah. Shemihem teitzi Torah. How come Torah scholars? Not common for them to have children that are also Torah scholars. You shouldn't think that it's naturally that it becomes as an inheritance. So that's why you have to see that it doesn't. You have to work on it. It doesn't come just because you have a relative. Rav Shesha sprayed the Rav Idi Amar Kadesh Liyaskadra Alatzibus. They shouldn't become haughty over the community. If the father's a Torah scholar and they're also, it's going to be like, oh, we own this place. They become too strong over the community. Because they call people donkeys. I'm not sure why they do that, but and this is the
Do it
punishment.
nowadays.
Call them donkeys.
No, a different word, but it's almost the same.
Yeah. Ravina Amar Shein Mevarchim B'Torah Tchila. Ravina says because they don't say the blessings on the Torah. Okay, now this has become to a very famous Gemara. Dam Rav Yudah Marav, Ma'idksiv Miha Ish Chacham B'Yavana says, who is the wise person that understands this? Why was the temple destroyed? This was asked to the sages, it was asked to the prophets, and no one could explain what happened over there until Hashem himself explained the Ksiv, Vayomer Hashem alozvam estirasi, because they had forsaken my Torah. Now, the pasuk says, it also says, they didn't listen to my voice. It says both. Alozvam estirasi and leishama, they didn't listen to my voice and they forsook maybe the Torah. They didn't listen. That means that they didn't follow in the path. Let me get the whole pasuk. I don't have it in my Gemara.
So you can hear me out. right?
Yeah, here keeps quoting here.
Just read it.
It says, and Hashem said, Al Azvam estirasi, Hashem asati lefneim. They had forsaken the Torah that I have placed before them. They didn't listen to my voice and they didn't walk on it. They didn't take that path. They didn't follow it. So, Amar Rav Yudah Marav, what does this mean? Shein mevarchim b'Torah tchila. They didn't say the blessings on the Torah. Yeah, they didn't say
This
the
doesn't
blessings.
talk about like
No,
or
that's a good
withholding
question.
Torah to others.
That's a good question. What about all the other statements that it said why the temple was destroyed? Isibar. Should we leave it right here? We'll leave it right here. Leave it right here. We'll continue on.
Oh.
Isn't there a person, the
Yeah.
Surprised we didn't bring that here because we have all these things about Hafara.
Right. Okay.
You know,
The
last
famous
week-
Ran over here that discusses that the Torah wasn't important enough to them, and so that's why they didn't say the blessings,
Thank the blessings on the Torah.
saying the blessings on the Torah.